It's 2 a.m., you're huddled in your living room, clutching a half-empty pint of ice cream, and just like Greg Behrendt warns in It's Called a Breakup because it's broken, your thumbs hover over his last text. You know the truth but hate to admit it, calling him won't fix this, because it's broken and pretending otherwise is just spinning your wheels. So what's next? Time to dive in and turn that heartbreak into a total breakover. You've been there, one call turns into 3 texts, and suddenly you're a mess again. Greg lays down a brutal but liberating truth about those tempting just one more time calls. Greg tells the story of Brenda in Seattle sobbing into her phone at 1 a.m. after a breakup. She calls her ex just to say goodnight, but it leads to a spiral of hurt, false hope, and one painful morning after hangover. That call didn't fix a thing, it just reopened fresh wounds. Imagine calls as emotional landmines scattered across a battlefield you're trying to cross. Each ping risks setting off an explosion of doubt, anger, or heartbreak. The book reveals that every attempt to reach out is like stepping on one of these mines, detonating lingering pain instead of closure. By cutting off the calls, you reclaim power. Greg calls this detox, an emotional cleanse where silence becomes your shield. The payoff? Suddenly, you're not living in reaction to him anymore. The heartache starts to fade and space opens up for your next move, not his next whisper. You think you're over it, but then the stalking starts, or the one last time sex. Greg uncovers why these pitfalls aren't just bad ideas, but emotional traps dragging you backwards. At a cafe in Chicago, Amy finds herself compulsively instant messaging her ex after a tough day. Greg points out how this digital leash keeps her hooked in limbo. Each ping is a foot in the door that stops her from stepping fully into healing. Stalking, whether it's social media creep or real-life lurking, feeds your fixation like a sugar addiction. Greg compares it to watching a rerun of a bad movie, hoping the ending will change this time. Spoiler, it never does. This behavior delays acceptance and fuels self-doubt. Then there's the notorious breakup sex. Greg calls it the emotional equivalent of putting a bandage on a bullet wound. Sure, it feels good momentarily, but it clouds judgment and often resets the cycle of hope and heartbreak. Real freedom comes when you break this pattern. Here's the good stuff, the transformation. Greg and Amira reveal how breaking up isn't just an end, but a launchpad to your inner Superfox, ready to reclaim yourself. Greg advises that seeing your past relationship for what it truly was, not what you wished it to be, is a game changer. He tells the story of Lisa, who shifted from idealizing her ex to recognizing his flaws, freeing herself from nostalgia's trap and clearing space for real growth. Rather than shaming your pain, Greg says throw yourself an epic pity party, complete with ice cream, bad movies, and zero guilt. This isn't weakness, it's emotional permission to process and release heartbreak on your terms. It's the first step in reclaiming your joy. Finally, Greg and Amira guide you to step into your Superfox persona, the confident, vibrant version of yourself you buried during the relationship. With practical exercises and hilarious pep talks, you begin to shine so bright, any future Mr. Wrong won't stand a chance. Remember 2 a.m., ice cream in hand, hovering over that phone. Greg's wisdom pulls you out of that endless loop. It's called a breakup because it's broken, and by stepping back, cutting contact, and owning your feelings, you turn heartbreak into a breakover. Try this tonight, log out of his world, set a phone curfew, and say aloud, I'm done chasing what's broken. Your Superfox is waiting. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.